1-2-1-2. Fabian PerspecTV. So expect it and accept it. From Santo Domingo to Nueva York, it's friendly fire on AllBallTV. And you can see the news here. Summertime is off season for a lot of these sports, except for baseball, which is going. I'm a Mets fan; it's going crazy. But I haven't watched one inning this year, which is, come on. The whole summer we've been spending on where Shannon Sharpe is going to land, ESPN or wherever it is, and I mean, you see the title. And the one thing I said when Shannon Sharpe was leaving FS1, or it was reported that his contract was bought out, the FS1 contract was bought out, is that, like, why wouldn't he stay in FS1? He would be the king of the castle and wouldn't have to get a wing in the castle, in the mansion. He'd be on the throne. I definitely want to talk about this article on awfulannouncing.com. I thought it was a joke at first, but they're a real website. FS1 cable carriage estimates surpass ESPN for the first time. After a decade, FS1 is barely the most carried sports network in America. For the first time, the most carried cable sports network in the United States is FS1. Per the Sports Business Journal, Nielsen's latest estimates indicate that FS1 is now in 375 million households, down from the 906 million in January. Despite the drop, FS1 has edged ahead of ESPN, which is now in 321 million households. In January, ESPN had 74.153 million subscribers. ESPN2's carriage is nearly similar to ESPN's. ESPN2 is in 318 million households, down from 74.135 million in January. Interestingly, FS1 also surpassed the subscriber count of one of its corporate siblings, Fox News, fell to 71.224 million households. Overall, cable, satellite, and streaming households fell to 75.783 million. That's down from 78.889 million in January, a drop of more than 3 million subscribers. Every sports cable network has taken hits this year. Warner Brothers Discovery cable networks, which air more non-sports programming than live sports, all took huge hits. TBS and TNT each lost more than 3 million subscribers, falling to 70.432 million and 70.295 million, respectively. True TV lost more than 4.5 million subscribers, dropping under 70 million to 67.302 million. USA also lost subscribers, but comes out just ahead of FS1 and ESPN. The network's subscriber loss clocked in at over 2.5 million, but it's still in 71.395 million households. League-operated networks also took hits, though not as severe as other sports networks due to the lower overall carriage for these networks. MLB Network lost just under 1 million households and now has 41.149 million subscribers. NBA TV lost under 500,000 and checks in at 37.925. The NFL Network saw a bit over 1.5 million subscribers depart and is in 51.072 million households. The drop in cable, satellite, and streaming providers has been continuous and stunning in the recent years. 6 years ago, in summer 2017, ESPN and ESPN2 were in more than 87 million households, and both FS1 and the dearly departed NBCSN were in over 84 million. The ESPN networks have shed roughly 20% of their subscribers since, while FS1 has lost around 15% and NBCSN has ceased to exist. In a different era, ESPN was in over 100 million households. After that peak, cord cutting began to grow in popularity. Overall, FS1 being an estimated 50,000 or so more households than ESPN and ESPN2 doesn't change much of anything. It does give Fox another stick to poke the bear with and another talking point to market. But the slight edge in carriage won't suddenly cause the average viewership of FS1's studio programming to race past ESPN's daily lineup. So you saw it there, the drop-off in ESPN subscribership since cord cutting started, really since streaming in the early 2010s. Everything has changed. Several things are astonishing there, right? The NFL network being in 50 million homes and still having a little bit under 20 million less subscribers than ESPN, ESPN2, Fox FS1. Granted, those are all networks that are more broad and they have Disney behind them and they can reach out and they're not just, dishing out NFL. NFL's like a niche thing, right? Their niche is football. But with basketball and all these things being the case or being distributed by ESPN and by Warner Brothers Media, it's what's stopping the NFL, baseball, and the NFL from ever joining up and creating their own app. I can see that being the case coming up soon, because this hiccup with Saudi Arabia offering Mbappe $1 billion cannot be sneezed at. Remember, Messi really turned down a deal that was $500 million or $750 million from the same area in Saudi Arabia, right? And now he's going to be in Miami, and he has a major deal with Apple as well. It's all tied into each other. Apple being an American network. But what's stopping these guys from linking together? These are all American companies, and they're going to have to compete with the other giant. Soccer is way bigger than every other sport around the world. Obviously, politically, the NFL and the NBA are not going to align. But something has to be in the works. The same way Hulu was created from Disney, Fox, and Time Warner. There was a couple of companies involved in creating Hulu. What's going to be the Hulu or Netflix for sports in general? They know that they have a lot to them. For them to overlook the fact that FS1 has taken over ESPN for carriage. Anyone has worked sales, any kind of sales. I don't care if you sell a nickel bag or if you sell stock to somebody in Germany. Sales is sales. ESPN, it's not the fact that FS1 surpassed ESPN, it's the fact that ESPN has dropped off this much and FS1 really hasn't lost. ESPN being the leader of all of the sports media this whole time, my lifetime, tied into Disney. These are big time American companies. And they're kings in their own right. So for them to lose out this much is significant. It should mean a lot to someone like Shannon Sharpe to play the independent route right now, especially. Stick with FanDuel, stick with DraftKings. Why would you want to not put up with that? If you're Shannon Sharpe, do you not go back to FS1 and go, hey, I see you doing well over here. I may be part of the reason why you guys stuck around and did not significantly drop off like ESPN. Would you guys want to rethink that offer? Remember, Marcellus Wiley already confirmed there's $100 million on the table for not just Shannon Sharpe. There's another individual out there. There are 2 media members who got $100 million. I can't see why Shannon isn't going for more money, more equity, and just more power and control over an organization and a medium that can truly distribute his likeness, especially when they're up against the 50 million subscribers that are at the NFL network. Shannon does all sports now. He doesn't have to cover all sports. He can hire people to do all that now. His channel is that big. I would think he would have experts Like imagine Shannon Sharpe being the Vlad TV of sports now, right? Like Pat McAfee kind of did that. He set the tone. Shannon Sharpe could take this to the next level. Be on ESPN like JJ Redick while promoting your podcast, similar to Stephen A. Smith as well. But why not have, you see what Vlad TV is doing now? I see him having like Gloria Velez on there hosting podcasts, Sean Perez. There's several guys on there hosting podcasts for Vlad TV. Saigon was on there, I think he's a former rapper now. Shannon Sharpe is going to have enough capital to create his own platform and to help catapult him and his brand to the likes of a Barstool. Look at Dave Portnoy. Look at Pat McAfee. You use the capital to establish yourself and then become your own true sports medium and compete with ESPN, FS1. I don't know. That's pretty much it. Like, comment, and subscribe. Tell me what you think. Am I crazy? Fabian Perspective.